Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Smoke Learning channel. When it comes to drawing someone's attention to information or finishing off a title sequence, one effect we often see is the glowing light pass. This is traditionally used on text, but you could do it with anything. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the light pass in action using lights and the blooming node. If you would like to follow along, please click the link in the YouTube description to download the files. Or if you're watching the podcast version of this video, then type the link displayed in your internet browser. Here I have my media edited into a sequence, and I would like you to select the segment and add a ConnectFX. To set up the example, hover over the ConnectFX node bin and press A for action. Drag an action node into the ConnectFX schematic. Ensure the action node is still selected. On the right of the interface, click the Load Node button. In the file browser, navigate to the downloaded files and load the supplied action setup. Now connect the clip into the action background input and connect the action output into the CFX output node. Now double-click on the action node to bring up its controls. Hover over the ConnectFX schematic and press Escape to switch to the action schematic. If the media panel is still visible, press one left arrow to hide it. So the action setup that was loaded contains two pieces of 3D text. To create the light pass, you need one light to light all the objects in the composite, and a second light to create the light pass effect. Go to the action node bin. Drag the light node into the composite to start shading the 3D text. Now you can set up your lighting however you want, but I want to push this light back to light the composite evenly. Double-click on the light node for its controls. Change the light type to directional, so all the objects in front of this light will be evenly lit. Think of this as global illumination. Move the light back in Z space to a position behind the camera. Now let's add the light for the light pass effect. Switch back to the Action Bin menu. Drag another light out of the Action Node bin into the composite. So this light is also lighting all the objects in the composite. I just wanted to affect the second line of 3D text. For organizational sake, I'll move the second light near the 3D text geom node in the Action schematic. To solely focus on the second line of 3D text, we need to use selective lighting. Click the Tools pull-down menu and change the option to Light Link. This is mapped to the Shift-L keyboard shortcut. Now drag a connection from the light to the geom node. Press Shift-M to switch back to select mode. So the light is only affecting the second line of 3D text. But moving the light around doesn't do much because the text is already white. So this is where the blooming node comes in. Ensure the light is selected in the action schematic. In the action node bin, drag out a blooming node and it should attach itself to the selected light. If you select and move the light, you can see that the light combined with the blooming node is creating a simple glowing effect on the 3D text. Let's go through some of the settings so you can see how it can be customized to your liking. Just so that you see this clearly, double-click on the blooming node and increase the intensity. Now the effect the light has on the 3D text must be considered in the context of the 3D environment. For example, you can select the light and adjust its distance from the text. As the light moves further back, a wider area on the 3D text is affected. So you control the size of the blooming range by distance, and you can also adjust some of the light settings. For example, you can change the light to a rectangular area light. Now decrease the light spread to 0. This means the light pass is only concentrated in this main rectangle. And adjusting the area of the rectangle will give you complete control over the size of the light pass. We'll do some more customizations in a minute, but let's quickly animate the light pass. Turn on Auto Key. Ensure you are on frame 1. Move the light to the left of the screen. Now go to the last frame and move the light to the right of the screen. Turn Auto Key off. If you scrub the time bar, you will see how the light pass has come together. Drop the blooming node intensity back to 100%. For further customization, we can retexture the blooming node with a relighting map and change its look completely. Select the blooming node in the Action schematic. Switch to the Action bin menu. Click the Relighting tab to filter the light tools. Drag out the glint texture and attach it to the blooming node. The result has changed quite a bit. If you go into the glint texture menus, decrease the glint intensity to about 10%. You can also scale the glint pattern for added effect. There are also the pattern menus where you can customize the pattern further. In fact, you can apply any one of the relighting texture maps to create the ideal shape for your lighting pass effect. But you can also create your own shape if you want. Let's quickly do this. Hover over the Action schematic and press Option Escape to see the ConnectFX schematic. Click the Effects node button. Drag out a color frame node and set it to black. Next, go to the ConnectFX node bin and drag out a paint node. Feed the color frame node output into the red input of the paint node. Double-click on the paint node for its controls. Now you can use any of the paint tools to create the pattern of your choice. Just remember that you need this pattern for the whole composite and not just one frame. So once you are done, switch back to the ConnectFX node bin. Drag out a Mux node and give it the output from the paint node. Double-click on the Mux node and click on the Freeze Current Frame button to save the current frame to memory. Now let's combine this in Action. Select the Action node and press Ctrl-N for a Media Input node. Connect the Mux output to the red and blue inputs of the Action Media node. When you look at the result, the pattern has been added as a surface object to our composite. Hover over the ConnectFX schematic and press Escape for the Action schematic. Select the surface object and the axis and delete them. We need to use this pattern as a texture and not as an actual surface. Select the glint texture map in the Action schematic. Switch to the Action bin menu and ensure the pattern is selected in the media list. Drag out the diffuse map and ensure it's attached to the glint texture. Instantly, the pattern we created is used as the texture for the light pass. This may need to be adjusted a little bit. Double-click on the blooming node and change the menu to Stamping. This menu controls any textures applied to the blooming node. You can now decrease the scale and intensity to whatever you like. Scrubbing the time bar, you can see how the light pass is affecting the text. Exit ConnectFX. Select the segment and press the Render button. As a final reminder, you can use this technique with any objects and not just 3D text. And the benefit is that this can all be controlled and manipulated in the context of Smoke's 3D compositing environment. Comments, feedback, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Smoke Learning channel for future videos.